Greetings, Mr. Thompson here with a science video lesson on the topic of chemistry today and the methods that are used for separating mixtures, which kind of sounds random, but it's actually really important in all kinds of different industries and certainly in science. I've got my coffee, so let's get started. Now, when we talk about separating mixtures, the different methods fall into two different categories. Okay, those that work for separating solutions and those that don't work for separating solutions. Okay, now if you don't know what a solution is and what a solvent and a solute are, then you need to probably take a break, go and work that out, and then come back to this video. Okay, because it's fairly important. All right, so the first technique. We're going to start with the non-solutions, so the ones that don't work for solutions, but these techniques that work for things that are not solutions, just other mixtures. The first one is filtering. Okay, now this one you've probably seen yourself quite a bit. It involves a membrane or barrier, okay, with holes in it that some parts of a mixture can pass through and other parts can't. So imagine a coffee filter or something like that, a piece of paper that is porous and things can go through. Imagine a bag that water can drip through, but the dirt that was maybe mixed in the water would stay in the bag, that kind of thing. Okay, some parts fit through, some don't. And I spelled through wrong, but I'll see if I can fix that real quick. There we go. Okay, now the next technique is a sieve or sieve, depending on how you pronounce it. But a sieve is basically a type of filter. Okay, so a sieve often uses like a metal mesh. So you see these a lot in kitchens. People have their sieve for doing flour or for even just straining noodles and stuff like that. That's kind of a sieve. They can sometimes have mechanical parts that help push stuff through the mesh, and sometimes there's layers that capture different sizes of parts and objects and things like that. Okay, filtering and sieve, both sort of filtering. So this is another page, but more non-solutions. Okay, continued. Separating funnels. Okay, a separating funnel is something you see in a chemistry lab. It's pretty much in science labs. And basically, if you've seen some oil and water, like say in a salad dressing, when you have salad dressing, certain kinds, you have to shake them up so they mix because the oil and the water separate. Separating funnel would help to separate oil and water, unlike when you have your salad dressing, you want them mixed. If you wanted to separate them, a separating funnel could be used to do that. It separates two different liquids of different densities, and it has a little tap out the bottom, and one of the liquids can drip out the bottom to separate it and collect it. Okay, decanting is the next kind, and decanting is basically letting a mixture sit, and like that salad dressing, when you put it in the fridge, it separates. Decanting is usually when there's like a solid in a liquid, and you let it settle to the bottom, and then you can pour the liquid off the top, or all kinds of different ways to get the liquid out. Sometimes they'll then filter the liquid and stuff like that. Okay, that's decanting, just letting everything settle. Sometimes some mixtures, they're too thick. They're not liquidy enough for the things to settle on their own, and so you have to, gravity isn't enough to just separate some things. Centrifuging can then be used. What they do is they sort of create a force that's stronger than gravity by spinning it around really fast, and the heavier things go to the outside. So they might have like a test tube on its side and spin it around, and the heavier things will go down to this end of the test tube, and the lighter things will stay up the top. Think of a clothes washing machine. It spins to get the water out. The water goes out through little holes, and the clothes stay on the inside. Okay. Now, moving on to our second category of separation techniques. These ones work for solutions. Okay. The first one is distillation. All right. Distillation is when you heat up a liquid. So it's like a liquid with a solid in it or something like that. You heat up a liquid to boiling point, so the liquid will boil off. It will turn to gas. You can then collect the gas and cool it to liquid. Okay, and it leaves behind the solid. So if you're trying to capture the liquid without the solid, you can capture it and collect it and cool it again. Evaporation is a term that's basically, it's a lot like distillation. The water evaporates. It doesn't boil to gas, but it's absorbed into the air. It takes a lot longer. It's less hot, takes longer, but it doesn't boil. You can collect the liquid as condensation afterwards if you want to, if the liquid is what you're sort of after without the solid. So crystallization is also related to distillation and evaporation. When the liquid is gone, the solvent, the solute, the solid that was in the liquid, will be left behind in crystals. So it has crystallized and can then be collected manually. Okay, the solute was dissolved in the solvent and it's left behind. Forms crystals. All right, our last technique is called chromatography. And chromatography is when you basically use some absorbative paper, okay, and you dip it into a solution. And if you've ever dipped like paper towel into some water, the water will absorb up the paper towel. It sort of defy gravity and absorb into the paper and move up. If the liquid that you're dipping it in is a solution and has different things dissolved into it, different parts of the solution will climb up and will absorb into the paper at different rates and different heights. And so you'll see if the different chemicals will sort of have different layers on the paper, and it separates in that way. You can't really, because it's absorbed in the paper, you can't really use it. So this is more often used for like testing and things like that, to see what's in the solution. You can use paper, and sometimes the paper even has like certain chemicals to make the mixtures and the things that are absorbing into the paper turn different colors and things like that. So that's why it's called chromatography. That's it for today. We'll have another video in the future on some things like flocculation and foam and things like that. So very exciting. See you next time.